There is one thing you should not be creating your budget without considering.
Welcome to the Female Finance Collective podcast, where we encourage women to have open and honest conversations about all things money.
I'm Jen, and I struggled for many years with debt and feeling financially overwhelmed, so I know how frustrating it can be.
And I'm Mary Lee. As a financial planner, I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of women who've transformed their financial lives.
Hey, I'm Sybil. I built my dream life traveling the world and creating financial freedom on a teacher's salary.
Let's start the money conversation. We think that when you create a budget, it can bring up a whole lot of feelings. We get that. Even us here, we're not like, I know Sybil has been very honest in the past about saying budgeting feels like a bad word to me. Like I get cringy when you talk about it. Like I don't want to think about budgets. It feels restrictive. But the truth is that if we shift our mindset, it doesn't have to be restrictive. A budget can actually be a plan. So whereas in the past, I always, when I was first starting out, like understanding my finances, I thought of a budget as like a punishment. It was like a consequence. Like, well, you have debt, so now you have to have a budget. It was like my consequence for that, for not being good with my money. But the truth is, a budget is a plan. And if you create a thoughtful budget with some really important qualities that we're going to talk about today, your budget won't feel like that consequence. It will actually feel like a plan. It will feel like a tool that you're using to get exactly where you want to be financially.
Yeah, exactly. So we can rename it, can't we? Just like you renamed emergency fund to a stockpile, we can rename a budget to money plan, my money plan. Oh my gosh, that feels so much lighter to me. Like, I don't know what kind of like trauma I have around the word budget or what, but you're absolutely right. Like, it's just making a plan. And we know that making plans really is so important. If we don't know where we're going, we're not going to get there, right? So if we don't have a plan on how we're going to drive on our road trip, we're not going to get to our destination. So we have to have that plan in place. And really, you're absolutely right. Budgeting is a plan. And the one thing that budgeting really is all about categorization, right? It's all about thinking about our expenses and our spending and how we're categorizing that money. Is that money going to our living, our home, to our mortgage, to our rent? Is that money we're spending going to our groceries? Is that money we're spending going to clothing, to education? These are the categories that we want to think about with our expenses and our spending. And that is really how we can then make a plan on how we want to spend our money in the future. And it feels a lot less restrictive to say it in that way, a lot less for me.
Now I want to make a bunch of names for it, like money map. You were talking about like
Mm.
we don't go on a trip without a map. So
Mhm.
then I was like, ooh, it's like a money map, right? You're like telling these categories are the things that we're telling you. You cannot create a budget without one, without the categories, right? That's the one thing. So if you think about it in that way, as this map, as this plan, you're literally telling your money in this tool. Now I'm trying not to use the word budget. In your tool, you're telling your money where you want it to go. I want this much money to go to my needs, but then I want this much money to go to my travel fund. I want this much money to go to my future savings. I want this much money to go to, experiences that I really value. So you get to tell your money exactly where to go, and you're reminding yourself, oh, yeah, don't forget this is your map. Don't get off track. Don't decide, oh, I don't feel like cooking for the next 6 weeks. I'm going to order dinner out every month, because that's taking you off the track that you've set up. So these categories, I think, I'm with you, Sybil. They are the most powerful element of this. If you don't, like, it's so much more than just groceries, gas, medical expenses, insurance. Like those, yes, those are categories and you need to have them because they're really important and they're all valuable. But forgetting to include the ones that align with your values, those, I think that's a big mistake people make, because then all their money goes out into those other things, a lot of wants and some needs. Then you get to the bottom, which are the things that you really value, and you have no money left to put
Right.
in there.
Because you haven't made a plan to spend a certain amount of money or a certain percentage in that category, right? Like we should budget, we should categorize our passions and our kind of like we all have things we like to spend money on for whatever reason. Like so it's not leftover. So that way we can make our plan or our map or our budget with those intentionally in place, right? And another thing to think about is like those smaller categories, how they fit into the bigger categories of your needs, your wants, and then our financial goals, because such a huge piece of why would we want to do a budget? Why would we want to keep a budget? Why are we encouraging here at the Female Finance Collective people to make a budget? And that is because we want you to be able to meet your financial goals ultimately. We want you to be able to build the life that feels good and that you want. And the way we do that is through allotting money to our goals. So maybe we're getting married soon and we want to be able to have X amount of money for that wedding day. Maybe we want to travel once a year, once, whatever your goals are, we want to use these categories of spending to see where we're in alignment and where we're out of alignment so we can kind of shuffle or reallocate that money into those goals instead. And so one of my favorite budgeting techniques is the 50-30-20 budgeting technique. And I do this about every 6 months, I would say. It's those big categories of where our money goes, needs, wants, goals. And 50-30-20 is kind of the standard. It's kind of the famous way to say it. But really, what we have at our fingertips is the ability to make those percentages what we want them to be. So 50% of our money in the general sense of this budgeting tool needs to go to our needs, things we have to live, our shelter, our food, right? Our car, if we need it to get to work, things like that. And then we have 30% in our wants. And this what I see, Jen, is our like wiggle room of
Mhm.
when you start tracking your money and you start looking at how much you're spending on your wants. Do I really need that many subscriptions? Do I really need that Starbucks? It gets easier to ask yourself those questions when you see that actually I want to put more than 20% towards my goals because I want to do X in 5 years because my daughter is going to college, right? That's a bigger technique, but first we've got to categorize kind of on the smaller side. And what has helped me shift my mindset so much is realizing that these categories are flexible. I actually change my categories quite often. So, for example, I might be tracking how much I'm dining out versus like DoorDash or bringing food in versus groceries. And then once I'm like in alignment, I realize, okay, eating out too often is not really a problem for me anymore because I've gotten that pretty in alignment. I can kind of start to put food all together more now. But there was a time when I was like, I'm eating out too much or I'm bringing home too much, carry-in food or whatever. And I wanted to have those categories. But, for me, it's a constant kind of recategorization and thinking like, do I want to be spending that much money? Do I need to categorize in that many ways? So it actually can be very flexible and very easy to change, especially if you're using a spreadsheet method or an app method, right? You can kind of create rules for all of them and they'll change. But really, it comes down to those categories so we can allot our money intentionally every single month and meet those financial goals that we have for ourselves for the now and for the future, isn't it?
That's right. And you said, the thing that I always think is so important is that 50%, 30%, 20%, that can be modified. So if
Absolutely. It should
you
be.
do all of these categories and you look down and you do the math and you're like, oh, I have 2% going to savings into my goals right now. Well, that's not quite what I want. Then you can slowly adjust so that you can increase that percentage. Sometimes there are seasons of life where our needs is taking up almost the entire amount of our money coming in, and that is okay, and we get that. I mean, Sybil and I have both lived in that season where the money
Yeah.
goes to survival, right? That's just
Yep.
where we're at right now. And so we understand that, but
Yep.
over time, as you're able to make adjustments, increase your income, and change things around, you'll be able to modify these percentages. But what I find is that if you stick with a dollar amount, like, okay, I want to have $500 and I want to put $500 to savings, I want to put this much money to groceries or whatever it is, that can feel really overwhelming. Like, and then if I get a raise, how much do I increase those dollar amounts? But if you think about breaking your money down in percentages, it becomes much, much easier because the math just maths for you. You don't have
Yes.
to go, well, now I'm making 300 more dollars a month. How much money should I put towards fun stuff? How much money should I put towards savings? Like what feels right? And that's how I used to operate. It was all about like what amount feels right. But if you have these percentages that you can rely on, it just makes it so much easier. So if you're just starting out, like you just graduated from college, you've got your first like real job, percentages are a great way to start because as you increase your income, you'll still be able to spend more. You'll be able to adjust your spends and your lifestyle for that. But you'll also be adjusting your investments, your value saving, and all of that good stuff too.
I
So
love that.
these are really helpful. That is a really helpful tool. I mean, we both like that kind of breakdown, especially for people who just aren't sure, right? I think it's a
Yeah.
really good place to start.
Yeah, and we have a gift for all of our listeners. If you join our Substack, our newsletter on Substack, we have a 50-30-20 budgeting tool there for you. You can just go in, download your own copy and get started. And you know what? I just had a thought, Jen. This would be a fun workshop. If anyone's interested in like 50-30-20 budgeting together, we could jump on a call and do that together, either inside the Female Finance Collective community and or just kind of outside of it so you can get a feel on what that feels like. Let us know in the comments or reach out to us and let us know because if you'd be interested in that, because that could be really a cool experience is to go through this together and just try it out, try it on. We're going to let go of our judgment and we're just going to see where are we falling right now? How much, what percentage is falling into needs, wants, and goals? I find it so eye-opening. And I love the idea that you're right. It is more about percentages than a dollar amount, especially because lifestyle creep is real.
Mhm.
We tend to make more money, spend more money. It's all over, it's research based, like that's just what human beings do. So if we're not paying attention to, percentages, we're probably not increasing, that goal amount as much as we might be increasing our spending amount as we make more money. And so just real quick to end up in this episode, if you're ready to get started, two things for you to do. One, join our Substack, Female Finance Collective, so you can get our free tool. And two, start making a money map or a money plan. You can do it on a simple spreadsheet. You can do it with a money app. I like Monarch Money. Jen does too. You can do it on paper. Okay, it doesn't matter, but start thinking about those big categories of spending on the needs, wants, goals level, as well as groceries, travel, those kinds of levels. Just start thinking about your money in that way and ask yourself, how is this aligning with my values? Am I spending money where I want to be spending it? Am I spending it in an intentional way that I can meet my goals for the now and the future? And let us know how it goes. But really don't budget without categorization. It's the most important thing that you can do. We appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Go out there and make your money map. Like our channel, share it with your friends, and we'll see you next week.